You're watching The Get Up Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show. You already know who it is. It's your host with the most, Sendesdhaiti, back with another video, another special topic today. Today we're going into the recent epidemic of aggressive cops. You know, these are the people that we have to uphold, our rights, right? Uphold justice and everything like that. But in all groups, there are the bad players, the ones who ruin it for the rest of us. So today we'll be watching some of those examples. And then we'll be going into the recent case about the young man who's facing basically life in prison. There's no basically life in prison. And yeah, we're going to go over the, consequences of this. But it's not, I personally don't feel like it's all on these people, right? Like it's your environment makes you type of situation, right? And I've heard people mention that this young man he was born from came from a good family and everything. But as you all know, if you're wrapped up in the wrong environment, it doesn't matter if you're, from the suburbs or not. You're going to get yourself wrapped up with the wrong people. And as a result, you'll get the results you get, So we'll take a look at that first. But before that, I'm going to give you all one more time to like this video, because I didn't give you way too many chances to like it already. So, before we get into this, a few messages from our sponsors. Believe it or not, most of my videos were edited using this Clipper AI. And with just a few clicks, you could turn your video filled with awkward silence into a single video without them. Adjust the parameters to get a quick and effective way to speed up your editing workflow at videoclipperai.com. Testing out the Video Clipper AI. The Video Clipper AI is going to cut out all the silent parts from the video. Oh. The first topics we're going to be looking at are what some people go through on a day-to-day basis. A lot of Black Americans go through this in the U.S., and I'm mostly going to be focusing on the U.S. if you're from there or not. But this is usually the current reality of a lot of people in this country.
And I don't think young men of color talk about our encounters with police as much as we talk about it. And I'm talking about in the urban neighborhoods. Like, for example, an undercover cop would pull up on a young Black man and start asking him 1,000 questions. Where you going? Where you coming from? Why you got this on? For absolutely no reason, no cause whatsoever. But I feel like we think that it's normal, because once they do that, we start pulling out our phones and recording. Oh, this police officer is following me. What you talking about? And they start taunting the police officer. I feel like we think it's normal. That's not normal. Like, it's not normal. Let me break it down for you, right? For example, me, myself, right? In my younger days, probably 16, 17 years old, I'm on the porch with my friend, right? And he lives in a house. We're on the porch and we're just chilling. We're just talking. We're just playing. We're on our phones. We're just talking. An undercover cop pulls up on us in front of the house. Keep in mind, it's his house. We're in front of the house, me, myself. He pulls up on us and he starts asking us 1,000 questions. Where you guys coming from? Why you guys outside? Who you guys with? Where you guys just came from? Right? And then he goes on to say, oh, after all was said and done, they searched us. They searched us for no reason. And keep in mind, we both come from houses with fathers like two-parent households, so we know how to conduct ourselves, right? So they go ahead and they search us and they go, oh, we stopped you guys. First of all, they didn't stop us. They came to us in front of the house. They go, oh, we came up to you guys because we seen you drop a bag on the floor. So we came to check. Like things like that is not
That's
normal.
crazy.
Like, it's not normal. It only happens in the urban neighborhood. Or, for example, another police officer came up to me while I was in the park, right? And as he's driving up, I'm looking at him. Obviously, urban neighborhood police comes up. You're going to look at them. The police officer drives up, and as he's driving up, he says, "You're looking at me like you're scared. What you scared for?" Like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, things like this, and this is not the first time. Like, things like this have to be announced and addressed, because it's like, what's your objective? Like, what's your objective? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Another situation.
You know, I feel like this is a case of like judging a book by its cover, basically. Like, a lot of the times when I would hear stuff like this happen, or even see it online, like through social media, I would usually see this become a thing where a cop would look for a reason to arrest somebody, like they wouldn't necessarily witness them commit a crime or something like that. They would literally just try to incriminate them until maybe somebody gets aggressive, maybe, the cop asks for something, for example, like an ID, and then they'll say, well, this is an investigation, but there was no crime committed. Doesn't there have to be a crime committed to be an investigation, right? But they'll say, where's your ID? Let me see your ID. And if you refuse, that's not complying, you know? And all of a sudden now you've got a case on you, right? So it's like subtle things like that where a lot of people who do fall prey to these just don't know the law about these types of things, And I feel like half of the times they're relying on you to not know. That's why they're blatantly willing to just do it, out in public, just walking down the street, and then all of a sudden you're questioned. For what? You've got no clue. You don't know what bias, what prejudice they have, What do you think? What do you think in the comment sections? In the comment section below, what do you think about this? But before we continue, I'm gonna give you one more time to like this video, because I've given you way too many times already. All right, I've done it way too many times already. So before we continue, I'd like to play another word from our sponsors.
This app fixes the biggest problem with hiring services. Customers no longer have to face no-shows, overpriced quotes, and not knowing who they're hiring. And if you're a provider, you no longer have to chase jobs with no consistency. Mint Soup changes all of that. Just tell the chatbot what you need and it'll handle all the booking details for you. Every provider ID is verified before being active, and you get real photo proof when the job is done. You'll even know if the provider actually showed up. And if they cancel, don't worry about it. Your job will be reassigned to another verified provider. Visit mintsoup.net to sign up for free today.
So some people in the comments are saying they're trying to put fear in the youth, And if you notice, they'll only do this in marginalized communities. I'm not sure if I'm using that word right. Put it in the comment section below if I am. But they'll most likely be doing this in brown and black communities, Like, you're not going to see them in the suburbs walking down the street and now they're questioning Johnny playing in his driveway. Like, they're not going to do that. They're going to be in either an urban or black or brown community. Like, and for the reason for this, I have no clue, Like, I grew up in a time where there was no Jim Crow South, and people had their civil rights already, you know? Like, I grew up in a time where I thought we were past this, but apparently they've just found other ways to just hide it, apparently. But yeah, that's essentially what they're doing. They're trying to put fear in the youth. And you notice that they'll do this to young black men, you know? Like, they'll do this to young brown men, you know, even young black and brown women, you know, they'll do this too. And it's all to strike fear in the youth so that they know that at any moment in time, like, they could try to get to you. But at the end of the day, if you know the law, if you know your rights and what is right and wrong in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of the Constitution, then I feel like you should be fine, you know? And then if they try to escalate it more, you know, that's a case. That's a case. You're gonna be suing the state. You're gonna be suing the state, good buddy, if you survive, you know? Just try to make it to court. You know? Handle it in court, not the graveyard. That's what they always say. But the objective is to search and destroy. Sad truth. Young man, that means it's normalized. And that's why they've do it since you were 14 and way before that. Let's get this in perspective. It's not right, and it has to stop. But we need to first learn to stop talking, know our rights and the laws, and fight back as a community in order to stop this injustice. Because not only does it happen in urban areas, it happens the black people in all areas, you know? And there's a reason why I said urban and black and brown communities, because not all black people and brown people live in urban areas like cities, you know? There are some of us that live in, you know, urban areas. I mean, rural areas, you know, and farms and stuff like that, you know? And suburbs, you know, of course. But you'll notice, you know, the law treats these people in these communities differently than they treat what they deem as the standard or the norm, you know. In which this case in America, it is predominantly white people, you know, that get the benefits of the law. Yeah, it is very sad, but so true. But anyway, let's continue past this subject and let's look at our next case study here.
It begins with this clip from the Student Union food court. You can see.
This is really what we're doing.
So apparently, this man, and I believe this is in the UK. Oh, Montreal, Quebec. It happened here. So a man was apparently arrested by police after paying another passenger's fare. So imagine, you know, you're already on the bus chilling, and then someone comes on the bus and they don't have the money to ride the bus. So you, as a good Samaritan, decide to stand up and, you know, help your fellow man, you know, to go from where he is now to where he's trying to go. So you offer to pay his fare for him. And instead of applause, instead of admiration, instead of thanks, well, I'm sure he got some thanks and admiration from the person he paid fare for. But instead of accepting this version of fare from another patron on the bus, this bus driver apparently decides to call the police on the person who paid the fare for the person who didn't have the fare at all. And apparently, I think they called it up and said this person is disturbing us on the bus and, needed him gone. But just for the fact of, paying for someone's fare and getting the cops called on you, like, is disheartening, Like, and this is the world people are growing up in. So there definitely needs to be real change for this stuff to not be a norm, Systemic change.
What is this? To the max. To the max. Bro, to the max. What is this? This is fucking man. This is not nice. This is not nice. I paid the money. Why are you touching the man? You understand? We pay. What is this? Money. Why is this guy? This is ridiculous. The man give you $2. Why you guy before? They can't put the guy get paid. This is ridiculous. Because he pays money. The guy pays. This is fucking money. I paid the money. Why you touching the man? We pay. He pays money. This is ridiculous. One guy before. They can't put the guy get paid. Because he pays money. The guy pays. I paid the money. Why you touching the man? We pay. One guy before. They can't put the guy get paid. Because he pays money. The guy pays.
I'm trying to get all of this fucking nothing. Bro, my thing. Bro, you didn't do a thing.
Like, that's insane. Like, I can't even imagine something like that. Doing a good deed like that and then getting arrested because of it. So let's take a look at some of the comments for this one because I'm interested to see what they thought about it. As long as there's white people, we're not ever we're not ever gonna going to really have peace because from the beginning they never came in peace. I have someone on I have someone on IG that I follow that once mentioned the only group of people that constantly gets antagonized but doesn't do antagonizing for themselves is honestly the black people, the black and brown people. Like, we stay to ourselves. We mostly want peace, but it's the most, this is what he described. It's the most vile, disgusting, violent people that are on top of the world right now. And it's because they are so violent and are willing to cross any line. And evil, basically. They're so evil that they're willing to cross any line, And if you look at, like the highest authority countries in the world, they've asserted their authority, like they've raped and pillaged, graped and pillaged, for lack of better terms. I'm not gonna lie. Look at what the US is doing right now. Just recently I heard they went into Venezuela, took their president, and now they've already siphoned off oil, taken $100 million worth of gold bars, and now they want to put in place people to run the country. They're even in talks of having Venezuela become a 51st state of the U.S., marking, what, around like 70 years since the last time they've added another country, you know, which was, I think, Alaska. So, you know, history repeats itself, and this way you could actually see the pattern, right? These people are taking over countries, right? These people, look at Israel. These people are bombing other countries indiscriminately, talking about the entire neighborhood is terrorism, or are terrorists, right? That very thing is evil, right? These people have a propensity to do evil. Meanwhile, the very people who want peace, we're like the air nation, the air nomads in Avatar, right? Yes, they are powerful, but they are peaceful, loving people, peace-loving people, right? I feel like that's the problem. Once we drop that it's only peace here mentality, and you know, like, we've had plenty of times where we've defended ourselves, but I'm talking about go on the offensive. Like, we start taking over countries, right? Ourselves. Like, I feel like that's when things are going to change for us. When we start having centers that cannot be fucked with, basically, right? World powers, you know? Not just one seat at the United Nations. And I'm not even saying we have to have a seat at the United Nations, but not just one representing the entire African diaspora. You know, I'm talking about one for every country. So it's stuff like that I mean. But anyway, let's look at the comments. Why aren't they standing up for him? Are you trying to get shot on a Wednesday afternoon while going on a bus going home? Like, no. And again, they're trying to just take him off the bus. The reason why he's refusing is because it's fucked up, obviously. Like, I paid my fare. I'm not doing anything. All I did was just give this guy $2, and now I'm being, you know, forcibly restrained. Like, nah, I'd be pissed too. You know? There's nothing you could do at this point but just get taken away and just figure it out in court, bro. Like, because one thing for me, I'm not trying to get shot on a Wednesday afternoon on the bus going home. Like, I'd be pissed. Like, especially after just paying for somebody's fare, bro. Like, I'd be mad as hell. Even if I came out of it alive and I got a bullet wound, I'd be pissed. And I'm in jail for the night. Fuck you talking about. Let's not make this situation any more worse than it already is, all right? So, yeah, the bus driver should definitely get fired. Like, I feel that for sure. Like, he should definitely get doxxed, you know? For sure. Don't do it on my show. But is it illegal to pay someone else's fare? I'm confused. Because WTF, I know. But let's take a look at a few more. This is actually the one that inspired me to make this video. It's right here.
What's your back? I didn't come in a car here. I'm just a kid.
All right. Stay down on the ground.
I'm a kid.
Okay, so
I'm a child.
Just relax.
I'm a kid right now. Because I'm black.
Play like you would be a big kid.
Who told you?
You're gonna play like a big kid.
You're hurting my arm. I'm hurt. You're literally hurting me.
Stop.
You're hurting me. I'm hurt.
Well, you were.
I'm not the handler.
Well, then you should have complied.
Why are you hurting me?
So this is the exact thing that we could go back to when I mentioned this at the start of this segment. They do these types of acts of aggression predominantly in black and brown neighborhoods. This kid just literally told him, I'm a kid. And meanwhile, he's 14, right? I'm a kid. I'm pretty sure he didn't shoot somebody or anything like that. But they have so much aggression for even a 14-year-old kid, right? Like slamming him as if yeah, he's been through this before. You know, it's fucked up, bro. And even when he says, I'm a kid, he's like, well, you shouldn't have been not acting like a kid or some shit like that.
What's your back? I didn't commit a crime. I'm just a kid.
All right, stay down on the ground.
I'm a kid.
Okay, so
I'm a child.
Just relax.
Honestly, as soon as he said, I'm just a kid, and then the police officer asked, you're just a what? He realized he was fucked. Because I feel like that's when it set in, you're just a what? I can't beat your ass right now. First of all, I saw that pause. He was like, you're just a what? Oh, shit. All right, well, you shouldn't have been not acting like a kid then. What? Nah, bro, you're getting suspended and sued.
I'm mad because I'm black.
Play like you would be a big kid.
Who told you?
You don't have to play like you're being a big kid. Bro, I almost said you're going to jail, but nah, bro, you're losing that job.
Like a big kid.
You're hurting my arm. I'm hurt.
This other officer's in disbelief. Bro, relax, chill out.
You're literally hurting me.
Stop.
You're hurting me.
He said, the other officer says, stop to who, bro? The kid's got his old arm in a guillotine right now. He's not doing anything. Stop what? But let's continue.
I'm hurt.
Well, you were fighting with my officer.
I'm not the handler.
Well, then you should have complied.
Why are you hurting me? What's your back? What's your back?
Literally, look at that. This guy is getting frustration out for sure. It makes you wonder, why are these the people that they send into these neighborhoods? When they're just supposed to be here to protect and serve. I once heard the right people get into this job because they actually want to make a difference and make a change to this messed up and fucked up system. And I believe that 100% because there are some good officers out there. I've met some of them. I've grown up with some of them. But there are the others that are in it literally because they know they can mess some stuff up, Even worse, they can mess some people up. They know. They'll be protected by the badge. Which brings us to the main event for the show. We're going to be going into the Julio Fulio case.
Okay, so this is a very popular video that is going around the internet. A young man is headed for the death penalty, but the court is saying that, you know, he should stay alive because we can get a lot of free labor out of him. And
Okay, before I just wanted you to see that one before we went to the actual one. So,
Man, everybody.
He's someone that's young. He's healthy. In reality, we need that labor. We need that sweat equity, and we will put him out there to work because we do have an aging prison population, jail administration. We have that, so we put these young individuals to work and get some sweat equity out of them since they are young and actually can do the work.
This video is floating around on the internet.
so that is it right there. So with the start of this segment, you saw, okay, so why are these police officers in this community, right? Because he said it right there. They need some sweat equity. They've got a aging population in the prisons to do free labor. So they need more of these people. And where there's a need, there is a demand. You know? Or where there's a need, there must be a supply to fulfill that demand of the need, right? So they're going to purposely put things in place in society to make sure that that need is fulfilled. So they said, forget about the 25 years. This guy is going to get life in prison, right? But that was before they said, no, let's have it be a death penalty. Eye for an eye, right? But they said, no, let's give him a death penalty. Because we actually need him to work. So, like, it's really ridiculous, bro. Like, it's ridiculous.
Essentially, this young man has thrown his life away, taking someone else's life, and now his life is being lost to the system. And there's a lot of people that are saying, good, this is what he deserves. But there's something much bigger going on. Let me give you some brief history. There's a phenomenon that's been coined the Cobra effect. In the 1800s, the British government started paying people for dead cobras. They said, anybody that brings us dead cobras will pay you a certain amount, because they wanted to reduce the cobra population. But it actually created what they call in economics a perverse incentive, an incentive structure that promotes undesirable results. As a result of saying that they will pay people for dead cobras, they actually ended up with a bigger cobra problem because people started breeding cobras just to make money. Do you understand how this connects here? You literally have to reduce a high-ranked member population of their prison system, created what directly telling you that their older inmates are aging out and that they're in need of young, athletic males that can put in sweat equity. Not that they want them, but that they need them. And if anything is a need, you best believe they're going to find a way to fulfill it. And so it's understandable to hear that man say those words and think to yourself, hey, that's what that guy deserves. However, there is a Cobra effect directly at play regarding young black males who have the athletic ability to put in sweat equity to keep certain things going. And in a country where, historically and presently speaking, reduced crime rates do not lead to reduced prison population rates, you should be very concerned. Because at least in the British Cobra situation, the government had an interest in fixing the structure. But in this situation, the government doesn't have an interest in fixing the structure. The government benefits from the structure being messed up. The 13th Amendment is the only loophole where slavery is still legal in America. And when you don't have enough slaves, what do? You find a way to make some.
He's someone that's young.
Yeah, that's it right there. Like when you actually need a population of people to replace, an aging population of free workers, you're going to look at the least common denominator to fulfill that. And historically, it has been black and brown people, So they're going to put these types of things in your communities. They're going to put drugs. They're going to, peddle drugs into your communities so the people in those communities could start not only consuming those drugs, and yes, some of them are arrested for consuming those, and not only destroying their communities, their families' lives, but also destroying the ones who are selling them as well, because they can get locked up and get sent for free labor. So it's like a double whammy, you know? And then it's going to incentivize for more crime monitoring, right? So more police officers in those communities, right? Meanwhile, we also have statistics that white people consume such things like marijuana around the same percentage that black people consume, right? But you'll have more black people over criminalized for minor offenses such as carrying an eighth of weed, you know, which can be legal in some states but illegal in others. So once you cross that state line, it's over for you, you know. What's it called? Profiling is a thing. You could literally just be driving down the highway and just be stopped on the basis of you looking suspicious, you know. But it's all there, folks. It's all there.
Okay, so this is a very popular video that is going around the internet. A young man is headed for the death penalty, but the court is saying that, you know, he should stay alive because we can get a lot of free labor out of him. And I want you to hear the conversation between the state and the judge. They're basically saying he is healthy. We can get years of labor out of him. We shouldn't kill him. But let me just tell you something. You got people ready for your life more than you're ready for your own life. This is the biggest trick on young black men. The biggest trick is tricking you out of your life, making you believe that what's happening in the street is real shit that matter. You can't handle a judge. You can't even handle sentencing. He's crying behind sentencing. If you ain't ready to die, you shouldn't be ready to kill. That's how it works. If you ain't ready to die, you shouldn't be ready to kill. But see, what happens is, this is why they keep you high. This is why they keep you drunk. This is why they keep you fueled on music. This is why they keep you fucking bitches. Because as long as you can be out of your mind, you're in the perfect position to serve a life sentence. You're in the perfect position to get free labor out of you, so that the Fortune 500 companies can continue to make their money. And here's something else that I want to say, because what's happening very frequently is a lot of young black men are convinced that they got to get quick money, that they got to hit the streets fast. You want to know what's crazy? You allow this system to convince you that you need money fast, that you got to get it quick, that you can't wait, only for you to go to jail and serve a life sentence and don't make a fucking dime. You see the game that this society plays on you? Let me tell you something, young man. Not this man in particular, but the next young man who is on his way to do something stupid. It ain't worth it. I hate to be this person because I know that you all like to be coddled and held like a little baby. But as you can see, between the interaction between the judge and the state, no one is going to hold you. They are prepared for you. They are ready for you. They are even championed for you to stay alive so that they can kill you. I'm Madam President with a Z. I'm 100% politically incorrect. You need to share this video with a young black man who needs his life changed. Now is the time.
That was a powerful message. And I see the caption she put over here too. You know, I actually heard something like this before, where it's, if you don't find something to do with yourself, this country will. And I always heard it as, if you don't find something to do with your times, you know, someone's gonna find something to do for it. You know, someone's gonna find something to do with your time if you don't, you know. So it's like the same concept. But she said, modern day auction block, when the court is telling the judge, please don't kill him. We can use his sweat equity. Surviving this country requires real mental stamina. My teacher used to say, if you don't find something to do with yourself, this country will. And that is the God's honest truth. That is the truth. That is why they throw liquor commercials at us, to indulge in all these unscrupulous activities, to gamble away our savings, to eat ultra processed, high seed oil foods, the chicken shack and all that stuff. None of it's beneficial. So when at the end of the night, when it's all said and done, they want you to go out and do some bullshit so you can end up in the slammer. That's what they want. And at the end of the day, it's a double whammy for them. 2 birds, 1 stone for them. Because not only will they have free labor, they'll also be disenfranchising a community that they've been trying to disenfranchise ever since that community came to this country. So it's going to further incentivize them to keep this going. So the question I'll leave for you all today is, what should be done to solve this solution? Like, one person trying to find the solution is great, but we all need to come together to figure out how to make this a better situation for everybody, how to abolish this racism, because I don't believe it's gone. It's just found a way to manifest itself into something else, to hide itself, to change, to adapt. This is the Get Up Show, and I'm gonna give you one more time to like this video, because I've given you way too many chances. This is the Get Up Show. That'll be all for today. And I look to see you all here next time.